Marvel Studios is officially moving forward with the X-Men movie. Michael Leslie is in talks to write the script. So, really quick, if you don't know who Michael Leslie is, he actually just wrote the Hunger Games movie that came out recently. There was a prequel Hunger Games film. Now, I did not see that film. My wife did, and she liked it. But and when I was looking at comments on Reddit and X and Instagram, a lot of people think that he's a good writer. So I mean, as I said, I haven't seen these films, so I can't really give my own opinion. But so yeah, now this is definitely due to the success of X-Men 97, and because of that, they are really putting this X-Men movie kind of at the forward. Jerry, how do you feel about them really starting to make some movement with the X-Men film?
I'm happy, but I have some concerns about Michael Leslie. It's awesome that they obviously are officially doing MCU X-Men. I definitely think the important piece here is that they should keep the roster small. I think that fans are. Everyone's been talking about the X-Men for so long when it comes to the MCU that I think fans are getting ahead of themselves. When you look at the Fox X-Men, I think it worked in large part because it started off both in the first X-Men movie and the first Class movie, which was the first movie of the reboot, soft reboot, whatever you want to call it. The rosters were small, and the MCU Phase 1 worked because they slowly introduced characters so that by the time the Avengers came, we knew the characters on the main roster. And if we didn't, we knew Black Widow, and you get what I'm saying. So I think that they shouldn't bite off more than they can chew. The X-Men roster could get very deep and could become overwhelming, and I don't think that the movie should try to do too much. I think that's one of the things that Fox was really good at, was keeping the rosters pretty minimal, and it allows you to get a chance to develop those characters.
I mean, this Michael Leslie guy. I mean, writing a script is one thing. I would want. I really want them to get someone that is more experienced. One of the things that need to happen, either Bo DeMaio or the people that were on the team of Bo DeMaio needs to be in that writer's room, because what they did with X-Men 97 was utterly amazing. And I think that, whoever they had on the back team, and that's what my guess is that they are probably doing, is like they're going to have that lead writer, but they're probably going to surround him with some of those guys from the X-Men 97 crew. So I hope that that's what they're going to do, because when you have people like the X-Men, you need people that know the content inside and out, because these are 6 to 20 characters that you have to be able to outsource and work. And in regards to what you said with the small roster, I think you've talked about that before, but when you put that in our Apple document, I was really thinking about it, bro. I was really giving it some thought, and I think that you have to make the main characters maybe like 6 to 7 characters for sure, with like having those 3 characters that you focus on. But I do think that you can have the idea to where like you have the really big school, right, where everyone's there, but then you have the 3 that you focus on, and that's kind of what they did with the original Fox X-Men. Like, like we saw little snippets of Iceman, you know what I mean, and people like that, but we still knew that the focus was that main 4 to 5.
Yeah, but even if because I watched Fox X-Men literally last night, and I was thinking about it, and I knew you were going to bring up Iceman, and great point. But Iceman, even if you add, the roster, which was like Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine,
Jean Grey,
Professor X, and Jean Grey, and that's, I think, 5 if I counted correctly. And then you add Rogue, and then you add Iceman, that's pretty much it. Like that was the roster in full.
Yeah.
I don't think Beast was in the first X-Men.
They're definitely going to do Beast.
They're definitely going to do it, but I don't think he was in that movie. And then, Magneto's roster was like, there was like three or four of them.
It was Mystique, Silver, the Fire guy. I forget his name.
No, it was. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not going to look it up, but there was like maybe 4 of them, maybe 5. So it was pretty limited. And, listen, the second you start adding characters that people don't care about and they're there just to have an expansive team, then you got a problem. And I think that, they were able to keep it very story driven and focus on what's important in those movies. And I think that's what they like. I don't think even if you look at the Avengers movies, eventually they had a lot of Avengers and it became very expansive. But even then, if you look at Infinity War, the interesting thing about Infinity War is they didn't really have many scenes where there were a ton of Avengers on screen at once. Each scene kept a pretty small group on the scene. The Avengers went on basically, cosmic adventure, and they were divided up into different groups. And, I think that is important, and that's what works, and let's not hope to see the entire X-Men roster in this movie because, the X-Men are new to the MCU at this point, and, let's not take things for granted because the MCU is not on a hot streak, to put it nicely.
Yeah, I think that Gambit and Rogue are definitely going to be on that roster. I think that they're very popular X-Men. Like, I think those are people that you have on. Like, to me, I think if you have Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Jean Grey, Rogue, Gambit, I think like that's a pretty chill roster. And whoever I missed of the main characters, like I think that
obviously Professor X has to be there.
Yeah,
but I think that's a fair roster. I think that's a fair roster. And listen, the 5 or 6 people is a good amount of characters. Like you could do a lot with that. But the second you start getting to 9, 10, 11, 12, like
it's too many people.
It's too many people.
And that's why. And then when we get to the phase 2 of X-Men, and then you have Colossus, Kitty Pryde, who I love. Kitty Pryde's one of my favorite X-Men. Right. Iceman, Emma Frost. You can go. The list is endless for like X-Men. And that.
By the way, you could still have Emma Frost in X-Men 1. Like, the X-Men roster isn't the villain roster. The X-Men aren't the villains. Like, Magneto could be the villain and have his own roster because the X-Men, doesn't encompass all mutants. That's Charles Xavier's team.
For sure.
And you could add, and then that's.
Oh, I forgot about Nightcrawler. Oh crap.
Yeah, Nightcrawler. But my point is, you have a team of 5 or 6 X-Men, and you can have a team of villains somewhere between 4 and 6, and then you have 10 characters. It adds up very quickly.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind benching Gambit and Rogue for Beast and Nightcrawler, and then making Rogue and Gambit kind of be the push of that second team. Because I think you have enough star power with Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's enough like star power, and I think having Rogue and Gambit can help boost up the Colossus, the Colossus, Icemans, and those types of characters.
And I think fans really do want to see Gambit because he is obviously an A-list mutant, and he never really got his time to shine in the Fox movies, other than being in X-Men Origins Wolverine, whatever it was called, which was I love it.
He was OP,
but man. He's obviously a big deal character, and he was only in that movie for a short amount of time.
Are you a Gambit fan?
I am a Gambit fan.
I think that you can even set up Gambit, bro, to be like not a part of the team. Like he could be someone that they encounter while they're on a mission or something, and then you could see him join, the X-Men like during the movie.
I think they should save him to include him in the post credit.
Yeah, well, yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like, what if like it's just a random freaking mission, and then he pops up, and then in the end we see him coming to the school, and then maybe him and Rogue have a moment, and then the movie just ends, something like that. Like, I think there's a lot of ways that you can incorporate these characters.
It's funny you say that because when X-Men First Class came out, Wolverine really wasn't a part of the movie other than that one bar scene. And I think the thought process behind that was like, every movie we've made, Wolverine's been the star, and now we're making a movie without Wolverine. It's a big risk. He's got to at least have a cameo. And I think they could have that same mentality with Gambit because everyone obviously wants to see Gambit. We only got to see Gambit for a short amount of time in X-Men 97. And like, I don't know. I think that everyone loves Gambit, and he's a character that always gets shafted somehow or another in X-Men movies and TV shows. And, when you think about it, it doesn't necessarily – he's not one of the characters that, like, you have to have in the first movie. He's just not.